What is up, you guys? Hey, welcome back to Behind the Offer. Now, normally on this show, we go behind niche offers that we make, a lot of other, new patient offers. And in this one, it really is no different. However, I've got my good friend, Dr. Chad Woolner, with me here today. And today we're actually talking about behind a big, more comprehensive offer in something we're calling Patient Stream. Okay, so I have been, in fact, I sent out an email to my list, and I said this month I have not added that much content. Last month I think I did 9 videos, and between tutorials, all this kind of stuff. This month I did 1, and
there's a reason.
Why was that?
We've been busy.
We have been busy. So, and we're going to jump into that. But Behind the Offer is all about really transparency, pulling back the curtain, hence the, the nice little image there. Pulling back the curtain on the new patient marketing offers. And in this case, we definitely have an offer, and why they work. Okay. So I want to pitch it over to you real quick. And what in 30 seconds, what is Patient Stream and what is the overall offering for new patients?
Yeah, so Patient Stream is taking the reboot funnel that we created, a lunch workshop funnel, which had certain elements of automation to it, but more completely automating it and putting it into a follow-up system. And when I mean fully automating it, we put together a system that will allow docs to be able to get the benefits of lunch workshops without actually having to go and do lunch workshops. Mm-hmm. It's done for them. Mm-hmm. Their assistant will manage it, will go on site, literally press play, the workshop goes. At the end of it, the workshop extends an offer that is congruent with the workshop itself. Mm-hmm. The workshop, what we do is we teach what's called the 30-minute reboot. It's a morning routine. Maybe docs who have purchased Chirofunnel Secrets University are familiar with this. Maybe they've even done their own version of it or the exact same version of the 30-minute reboot. But we have perfected it. We've added a few little additional elements to it. And now there's an offer at the end of it that closes out that goes in conjunction with it. It provides people with some tools that they can use in conjunction with that in getting started with their morning routine. And it is in conjunction with a new patient offer coming in for that initial evaluation. And then at the end of it, the offer is that we provide them with the tools that they can use in conjunction with that morning routine.
And as I've said on this show before, every offer has a story behind it, right? And the reason I want people to understand, the listeners to understand, the watchers in this case to understand the story is because it gives context to what we're actually offering. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the story a little bit, how this developed. And if you're watching this and you're like, oh, this is important to know because innovation happens not usually because you're trying to innovate. It happens out of necessity.
Yes.
Okay, so give us a little bit of the backstory. How did this come to be? How did Patient Stream come to be?
So do you want like the real version? Because the real version is pretty interesting if you want to hear the real story, like the original.
I'm going to leave it at your discretion.
Okay. So the original story, actually true story, as I was leaving for my mission to Louisiana for my church.
Oh boy, this is really
I know.
OG.
I know. This is like I told you. This is the truth, though. This is how it all transpired. I was leaving for my mission. My oldest brother, I should say. I'm the youngest of the family, but he's 10 years older than me. He had served a mission prior. And he handed me a letter. He says, don't open this till you're on the plane. It was very cryptic, right? Oh, wow. And he's like, in this letter contains the secret to becoming a successful missionary. And I was like, what, you know what I mean? Talk about intrigue there and curiosity. I was like, oh man, it contains the secret. And he's like, and it's very specific and it's not what you think. And I was like, huh. And so I was like, dying of anticipation. So I get on the, you see, like I look at the face you're making now, you're
just,
like, man.
go ahead.
So anyways, I get on the plane and I open up this letter, and I still have the letter to this day. Actually, it was a very life-changing letter for me. And he said, you're going to get a lot of advice. He says, but this is, you can think of those as like keys to becoming a successful missionary. He says, but I believe this is the master key. And he said, here it is. And he basically just, I'm like drum rolling, like, oh my gosh, what is it? He said, commit to get up on time every day of your mission. Get up early, get up on time. That will set the stage and the pace for everything you do. And that had such a profound impact on me that I have since, for the rest of my life, always acknowledged the critical nature of morning routines. And I've looked and seen that pattern with successful people, that all successful people have that one kind of common denominator amongst them, that they all engage in a solid morning routine. And anyhow, I knew that. And so when I created originally the workshop, the 30-minute reboot workshop, I wanted it to be something of value to people that they could have and use and incorporate into their lives independent of our clinic, because I felt like that was the thing that I hated about so many of the various lunch and learn lunch workshops, was that they were what I call thinly veiled sales pitches, where it's like, 101 reasons why everyone needs a chiropractor.
Oh, and by the way, I'm a chiropractor.
Yeah, OPS, and it was like so like self-serving, and it was like there was no real inherent value that was there for the people to utilize. And so I knew, like all along, little did I know that I was going to create a workshop out of it. But later down the road, fast forward, some, decade or more, I realized, what, this is something people need to know. They need to know this, and better. And rather than me just saying, you need a morning routine, what if we could create a simple framework around that was easy to understand, and more importantly, easy to implement, and was flexible enough that they could really shift it into and morph it or evolve it into what would work for them. It's not this rigid structure that's like, and so that's what became the 30-minute reboot workshop. And it has evolved over the years we've made enhancements and improvements to it. Originally, it was just 3 components, the Fit 15, the Zen 10, and the Fueling 5, which it still is those, but we've refined those components and created greater clarity on those components. And we've done it. I've done that workshop personally. I've done it over 500 times. And the feedback we get, whether it's people coming in to see us or it's just people that attended, whether they see us or not, the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. People love the material. They love the information because it's inherently useful to them. It's inherently valuable to them. Again, whether they choose to become patients or not, they appreciate the gesture. It's not just a timeshare sales pitch.
And what a cool shift too, because like you said, I mean, when I started into the consulting game with chiropractors, it was a lot of, hey, here's education based on spinal hygiene and health and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and by the way, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
And in this case, it really is like this. It's like the stealth close on.
Yeah.
It's like, so the sales pitch is not even there. It's just like so value based that by the end it positions you. The difference between a salesman and an expert is one gives advice and one sells.
Yeah.
Right. So because you give like beyond reproach advice the whole time.
Yeah.
It really positions your offer as just sheer solid value.
Yeah.
And it is so void of that spammy approach, that offery thing, so it's really great. So that's the concept behind the reboot funnel. And you did this inside of ChiroFunnel Secrets for a very long time. Like you said, you did it over 500 times. And by the way, I've seen you do it personally, and it's absolutely phenomenal and amazing. And you, on average, get per workshop how many new patients on average?
When I was doing it personally, honestly, we typically, I would always tell docs, wire it to about 2 to 3 new patients consistently. I would always wire it at least. And again, in terms of statistics and averages, it would look like, I always tell them, it looks like this. Your first one, you get 0, right? That's just
that's how
the
it
universe, First one, you get none. Second one, you maybe get 1 or 2. Third one, you get 5. Fourth one, you get 1. Fifth one, you get 7. Sixth
Yeah.
one, you get 3. And so it's just it's kind of all over. But when you all shake it out and you look at like what's really happening, we were probably getting closer to 4 or 5 new patients.
Yeah.
But I always say 2 or 3 just to wire it down low.
Yeah. So that process has been vetted. It's been, pretty good. So that still leaves a problem. And the problem is that you, Dr. Chad Woolner, 500 times were required to leave practice and go do a presentation.
Yes.
Okay. Which I know a lot of people enjoy. I think you do to an extent, but after 500 times, it's kind of like, yeah, man, let's maybe graduate past that.
Yeah.
And I find that as I've spoken to a lot of people looking to bring in new patients with online marketing, it is very common for this discussion of, hey, I want to take what I'm doing in the screening / workshop / corporate presentation realm, and I want to replace it with the online marketing realm. Is that
Funnels
possible? Yeah. And I'm always like, well, why would you take away something that is working? Now I understand why, like I understand the motivation why to do it. But as a business person, I'm like, man, you've got great foundational revenue coming in from that. So this kind of, all of this dialogue, this problem is at the, is the catalyst.
Well,
and
yeah.
Patient Stream. Go ahead.
And the thing that I was going to say is that up until now, your options have been really twofold in terms of the workshops. Threefold. A, continue to do them till you die, which I think for most docs, they don't like that idea of like, I've got to do lunch workshop. For some docs, they're like, great, that's cool. I could see myself doing that indefinitely. That's fine. It's fine. I can do that if necessary. Second option, quit and replace it, like you said. Third option, what docs have done is they said, okay, I don't want to, completely abandon this thing that I know brings in new patients, and I don't want to keep doing it. So what's my other option? Hire an associate or train a team member to do it.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is they are not you.
Right.
And so, and not only they are not you, but you can't always guarantee that they're going to come with their A game, that they're going to be as motivated. No one is going to be as motivated as you are if they don't own the practice. And you can try and motivate and excite them with bonuses and all that stuff. And maybe that works for a period of time, but what happens when they leave? What happens when you have to replace them? What happens when they call in sick? What happens when they're having an off day? What happens when any number of variables
you have that
get thrown?
That gap, that lapse in productivity.
Yeah.
And that, the reason people do those workshops, whether they do your reboot workshop or anything else, is because it consistently produces.
Yeah.
It's something you can count on.
Yes.
All right. But yes. Okay. So we're back to the problem of, the things. You either hire somebody else, an associate to do it, a team member, you do it yourself. But these are all these all come with their own bag of issues.
Yeah, new problems.
Right.
You think you solve one problem and then all of a sudden you get a whole host of other new problems that pop up.
And so you and I, maybe a year and a half ago, were sitting here and we were divining what are the most productive funnels. And I don't know if you want to go into that at all, but basically we were saying, okay, with the least amount of financial resources, what produces the most
most
ROI?
bang for our buck. Yeah.
What is that? And we sat here for a good time, and it came back to the reboot funnel.
Yeah.
And so you had left doing the reboot funnel. I think a lot of people do that. They just they get busy. You guys were cranking out tons of stuff.
Yeah.
They get busy. So you had stopped doing that. But once we came to that realization, you started that back up.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Oh, it completely it's like a light switch every time.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, very predictable every time. It just produces every time.
And so when I get the benefit, I have the benefit of being here often enough to, witness these things happening.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I get to run campaigns all across the country, run them here, see what's happening. And this discussion developed between you and I of, hey, the reboot funnel needs to graduate to a new level.
Yeah.
Right. Something needs to happen. The potency and the power of that strategy needs to graduate to the next level. And so you and I started to discuss what would that look like.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and you honestly, I'll give you credit completely here and now for suggesting, what if you were to do it in the form of a video presentation rather than you physically being there?
Right.
And I don't even think it's that I was resistant to the idea. But I think there was maybe a little bit of a twinge of doubt that it would be able to convert at the same level as living, breathing human being there. I was doubtful of that. And I think more than anything, again, it wasn't resistance. I think it was fear of, okay, we can try this, but I'm afraid that if we do this, it'll just belly flop and then it'll be back to the drawing board and I'll just be, I think that would be a very discouraging prospect, but I've kind of came to the point where it's like, we're never going to know for sure if we don't do it.
Well, that's the thing is because it wasn't just hey, here's an idea. And then it happened. It was like, hey, here's an idea. And then there was discussion and then there was iteration and then there was all this stuff. And then,
but we did it the very first time we ever did it. It was about a year ago. The first time we ever did it. 8 new patients from a single, and I was like, and that was enough for me. I was like, okay, it's proven. And since then, we have done it time and time and time again. And it predictably produces no different. It's not that it's better. Well, it's better in the sense that I have more time. So it's always going to beat me, but it produces the same every time. It produces the same.
Well, it's a digitized system. It's a digitized presentation. So it doesn't have a bad day. It doesn't have a good day. It has a day. Every single time it goes to a presentation, it presents.
Well, and we've offset, and that's the other thing, is part of the system, because it is a comprehensive system. It's not just a video that you play, because I think for a lot of dogs, just a video. No, it's definitely a system. And the reason why is because we've taken elements of positioning and pre-framing and added those layers into it. So what I mean by that is we've created a very specific template that doctors can use and edit and tweak for them. We call it a meet your doctor bio sheet. We have a meet your doctor bio sheet.
Well, you talk about positioning, all of this stuff. Okay, the workshop, the way it was designed, the meet the doctor bio, everything is done to position the doctor as a what?
An expert,
man. If you want to be a person that converts, it's the selling without selling.
Yes,
that converts by.
Well, and that's the thing.
You have to have that,
and that's the thing. You don't have to have your assistant come in and over embellish and be super pompous about everything. Oh, Dr. Woolner's too busy to be here.
It's more of what you don't say.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't, and that's but yet at the same token, that's what you're implying when the assistant is there doing that, handing out a bio sheet, talking about the doctor, and that bio sheet is basically an opportunity in a humble way, in a non-pompous way, to really brag about who the doctor is, why he's so special, why the clinic. We have a team bio sheet that we do that talks about, because it's obviously more than just me at the clinic, but there is such powerful nonverbal communication that takes place there in that, wow, if this guy doesn't have the time to be out meeting us in person, and yet we've put together thoughtfully this communication that takes place for everybody that we can place in front of them to introduce us and really put our best foot forward, we're able to still get all of the same benefits of that quote unquote face-to-face communication, because our assistant obviously is able to create a connection with people, but then also again, that pre-framing, that positioning, that we're busy and we're really good at what we do. And I
think another really interesting point that I just happened to realize yesterday was your new marketing gal started how long ago?
Less than a month, a little over a month.
And I was mentioning, because he had said that yesterday. I'm like, oh my gosh, she seems like she is a seasoned pro. And by the way, she doesn't seem like she's a seasoned pro yesterday. Over the last several weeks, I'm like, this girl knows what she's doing. Yeah. Well, guess what? To pick up the baton from a system that basically is plug and play, you can look pretty dang good without knowing much about chiropractic, without knowing much about even the offer, because you get up, you hit play, and then at the end, you follow the system. It's done. It's easy. So
there's not a lot of scripting to it. There's not a big, learning curve to it. It's very
not
simple.
Just a video.
Yeah.
So let's shift to that real quick. So I think the fulfillment is a testament of what Patient Stream has turned into.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe walk us through, we have the setting up the meetings, we have the fulfilling, and we have the post. Maybe give us a walkthrough of how Patient Stream fulfills on those things.
Yes. So if I'm understanding you correctly, the thing that there was always two big barriers to lunch workshops to get them to work effectively that always was that made me hesitant. The first one we've already addressed. We talked about the thinly veiled sales pitch. I hated that, because it just made you feel stupid. And I've done those before, and it was awkward. So we've eliminated that. But the other one is that when making your offer, there was always this pressure, unspoken or spoken, of, man, you better close as many people as you can, because if you don't get a bunch of people to sign up, you feel like it's a failure. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of money. It's just a waste, and it's a horrible feeling. And so that created an undue sense of pressure. Well, we realized, look, if there was a way for us to follow up with these people, it didn't have to be a, what I call, one shot is all you got approach. We could just continue the conversation in a very meaningful way. And if it was a way to communicate with them that wasn't just hey, do you want to sign up now? Hey, how about now? In a daily sequence, today you get an email from me, Sam, that says, hey, Sam, you didn't sign up from our workshop to come and get a new patient to come in. Do you want to come in now? And then the next day we got the next one. Hey, how about now? Would you like to come in now? Next one. Maybe now. It's like that doesn't help your positioning, and that doesn't help them. So we tie it in such a way that in the workshop, we talk about the routine. We talk about components to the routine. But ahead of time, what we let them know is, if you'll sign up, what we're going to be sending you are all the notes from the workshop, as well as a bunch of free resources that will help you in this whole process. And then we deliberately split those resources up. So number one, it's more digestible for them. It's not just like here's all these resources, just download it. It's like, whoa. So number one, the communication is drip fed in that sense that it's more bite-sized pieces. But then number two, what those frequent communications do is it helps to build a relationship there, by continuously giving them more impressions of us, and then what we're providing them in terms of the resources are really, really good professionally done resources. We give them a series of exercises that are professionally done, exercise video, exercise guide. We give them a full guide on meditation, as well as some meditation sounds that they can download and utilize. We talk about nutritional stuff. We give them a full PDF cookbook that was professionally written and done by myself and Dr. Allen. We call it the 30-Minute Reboot Cookbook. We give that to them for free. So there's so many free resources that they get. And then at the tail end, there is a re-invitation, but it's come only after we've kind of continuously given them that value. And even if they don't take us up on that, we now have an audience that has become comfortable and familiar with us, and has essentially become used to us communicating with them. And they're open to those communications now, because they know that it's not just us trying to sell every time. It's valuable, useful information that they've become conditioned to know that we're a source that they can trust, that's going to provide them with good information. And so to have that systemized for us, so that it's so simple that the assistant can go and just upload the names and contact.
Everything you just said is programmed.
It's
into
done.
The software.
It's done.
It's done for you. All you have to do is take the names, hit the plus button, put the person's name, phone number, and email in there, and everything else will be done for you, which is fantastic. So, all right. I think there's a good enough picture drawn of what Patient Stream is, how we've kind of re-engineered this thing to be a plug-and-play system, so they can get, 4 to 5, on average 4 to 5 new patients per workshop. You multiply it by how many workshops you want to do in a month, and it's math. So that's what it is. As far as launching and promoting and all that kind of stuff, what are we doing for people that get on and start using patient capture? We know this thing works.
Well, and the thing that I would say is this: because of the proven nature of this, I'm well aware that in the world of marketing, myself, I do this. I recognize that I do this. In the world of marketing, I know that we will always say this thing is worth, quote unquote, Truth be told, though, in all honesty, we could easily charge $2,000 a month for this service, and I think docs would not blink an eye at that.
Agreed.
Because of what this can yield for them so easily. The return on $2,000 a month would be stupid simple. But for us, we believe so strongly that every clinic should be using this platform to help them solve that fundamental problem of consistency of qualified new patients, that we wanted volume. We want as many docs using this as possible. And so we did not want cost to become a barrier. Now, I know there's psychology associated with premium pricing versus, lower cost pricing. And so we wanted to strike a balance. And so for us, our monthly fee is actually very doable. Number one, it's $497 a month. And for the foreseeable future, that's not going up right now. But what we wanted to do for those who take action right now and take a look at Patient Stream, and what we want to say is prove it. We want you to prove Patient Stream is we want to give you 30 days for free, absolutely free, no contract, no obligation. Use it for 30 days. Let us prove to you how powerful the system is, what a game changer the system will be for your practice, so you can see what an indispensable utility, I'm calling this a utility for your practice, just like your electricity, just like your internet, just like your phone, your cable, all of those different things. Patient Stream needs to be viewed no different. This is the fundamental foundational layer of your marketing that if you put this in place, if you just follow the system, it will completely change the way you market everything else, because that layer will be there. And if nothing else, provide you with peace of mind of knowing that when I pay that, when I just use that system, it just provides consistency, such consistency. So
below in the description, I will have the link to the sales page so people can go and check that out. But what's the URL?
www.mypatientstream.com.
Pretty straightforward, you guys.
And that'll walk you through a little bit more in terms of what it does, what it's all about, and everything.
Yeah. So go to www.mypatientstream.com. Again, if you need that link, it's in the description below. But I feel like this thing has been a long time coming. Again, not much content produced in the month of January, and that is because in launch month, you got a lot of stuff coming. When people see what we've put together as far as all of the free content, everything, I mean, that's, by the way, what we talked about here is really just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
So when you get into it, you will absolutely love it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Behind the Offer, and we'll see you on the next one.